Hey, it's me, Rod Morgan, a longtime listener and semi-professional host of the Morgan You Know podcast, a pop culture, sometimes music, sometimes movies, sometimes TV podcast, always entertaining podcast on the Morgan You Know podcast network. Listen to us wherever you get your podcast. That's an awful lot of podcasts. That's the Morgan You Know podcast.
Hello, Internet. The Morgan You Know podcast network presents Balls and Brew.
Happy Independence Day to one and all. That is probably passed by the time you listen to this, but I am recording it here on July 4th, so I thought I could mention that up at the top. My name is Rod Morgan, host here of the flagship sports podcast on the Morgan You Know podcast network. Joining me from North Carolina, where, it is the South and it's different from the Midwest, but I'm pretty sure you guys still celebrate July 4th down there. Is that right, Chris?
It's very patriotic. You may hear explosions coming through my door, but don't worry, it's just fireworks.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm down here in the bunker at the Morgan You Know Studios in Mishawaka, and I'm having quite a few fireworks going off. But fireworks are apropos for what happened in the NBA offseason. We had the period where teams were finally, in quotation marks I'm doing here, you can't see this because this is an audio podcast, but teams were finally able to talk to potential free agents, talk to other teams about trades, and we had an influx of moves. Now, Chris, we want to make I guess you could call this a disclaimer here at the top. We are choosing to not talk about a particular trade request that came out of Brooklyn, correct?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about things that haven't happened yet, right? Why should we talk about things that may not or could not or is just completely in the realm of possibility still? Like, we're going to talk about things that have actually happened and make teams better or worse.
I like that. We are going to do, you know how we like to try to have fun around here. So I came up with a pretty cool idea, a different way for us to just bring up some different moves that have happened in the off season. But we need somebody else, Chris, to kick around some NBA topics with us. So what if we look out west, so to speak? Not necessarily where this person's located, but maybe in a state of mind. What if we go the Cowboy way to get a little bit of help on this NBA, Chris? What do you think?
I think we need it. I think we need the Cowboy way tonight.
I'm back, baby. Yes, sir. I'm happy to be back. I got my Miller Lite open, ready to rock and roll, ready to talk some NBA offseason awesomeness, man.
That's right. So far, we've seen quite a few moves. Derek, we are happy to have you back here on the podcast with us. Let me explain the rules and the gimmick that I have come up with for us to do this, right? I love I'm on an island, right? When it comes to takes these days, that's what we're all about, right? We want to be the first to stake our real estate on an island, and maybe every once in a while we want to just be staying on that island a little too late because we want to be proven to be wrong. Chris, do you follow me so far on that analogy?
Yes, sir.
All right, so to that end, we here on this podcast, we like to bust balls, as it were, right? We like to make fun of guys when they go too far with the take and it blows up in their face, and then we also love to be the first to pat ourselves on the back when we say, hey, I had that before everybody else, right? Chris, doesn't that sound like something else we do around here?
Oh, yeah, you guys let me have it when I'm wrong, and I'm wrong a lot.
That's true, and I'd love to pat myself on the back when I'm right, and I'm right a lot. So I came up with a draft. We love to draft things around here, and what I'm calling this is we are drafting our islands that we want to live in, all right? We are staking early real estate on these islands based off of one particular move that happened in the offseason, be it a trade or a free agent signing. And that move, the real estate, what you're buying into is that makes a significant difference in that particular team's standing, meaning maybe it takes them all the way to a championship. So clearly that would be definite real estate you'd want to buy in early on. Or maybe it's as simple as it appreciates in value a little bit because this move significantly makes this team better. They place higher in the standings, maybe win an extra round, win more games, any of the above. So what we're looking for is one particular piece of real estate to buy into early that we think is going to gain us value. Derek, does that make sense to you, my friend?
100%. I have my list out. I am excited about this. I think it's a great kind of like, segment to really like push forward. Like, these are like the things we want to we're excited about this because, it happens once a year, and then, these moves are all compacted, and we get to look at them over and be like, that sucked, or that was awesome. So I'm excited to look over it.
Well, here's the awesomest thing for you. I am being magnanimous here on July 4th since you are Chris and I's guest here. He's just everyday co-host, so he doesn't get any guest privileges anymore. You do. You can have first pick, my friend. So you get first island, the first piece of real estate of the off-season moves. Cowboy Derek, what are you taking?
I like to kind of go safe. Safe's my route, and I always will. So I'm going to go the champions getting Dante DiVincenzo.
It was on my board, dog you.
I really love the ad for them, and I like that they just keep making moves like this in the offseason, and the way he brings some athleticism, some defense, a tiny bit of playmaking. I just think it's a great move for a team that's already kind of like they signed Kevon Looney. We already knew that was going to happen. I just think this is a great move for the team that's already a favorite to win the whole thing again next year.
All right, Chris, two things coming off of this. First, I love that we have a move that's a little more on the fringes because I think that sort of speaks to what we're dealing with here, right? Sure, there's some big swings that have been made, but there wasn't a huge crop of free agents or moves to be made out there, so the ones that you make on the fringes can be a big deal. But I wonder, how much appreciation can we really see out of a team that already won the championship? So while I agree with Derek that DiVincenzo is going to help the Warriors, is that piece of real estate going to appreciate as much in value as, say, maybe a picks you or I could make?
Yeah, no, that was a bad first-round pick.
There we go. That's what I was fishing for.
Yeah, that's weak. It may be a safe pick because he's definitely not going to hurt the team, and he's going to help improve them in a couple little areas, but you can't get much better than winning the championship, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of there. I'm with Derek that this is not going to kill his portfolio, right? He's not going to have a negative asset sitting there in the Derek Cowboy Derek Real Estate Holdings LLC, right? You're not going to have a negative aspect there, Derek, but I don't know if it's going to skyrocket in value for you. I guess that's all we're saying.
I like to play the safe game, the old open layup. That's all I'm saying.
All right, that's good. Well, we'll see. You got a little more risk available to you in your pick 2 and 3, I guess we could say that. Chris, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pick last, but the only reason I'm going to pick last is because I'm making this a snake draft, and then I get to go twice. So you're up second.
Okay, so... Oh, that's tough because everybody on my board is still there. I am going to go with a team that made a trade, and with this trade, they announced to the entire NBA that they are playing to win now. It's not something that we've seen a lot of from this team, but they went out and they went and did something they haven't done in the past. And what they did is they went out and got a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. And I'm talking about the Timberwolves taking Gobert from Utah. I don't know what Utah's doing, but Timberwolves are making a statement now. They're saying, come at us. We got a 7-1 guy that's going to be shooting threes, and we got another defensive juggernaut in the middle. Try to beat us. And I think it's impressive. Minnesota usually doesn't do things like this. They usually build their team through the draft and then trade away their assets, and this time they did the opposite to win now. They made a statement to the rest of the Western Conference especially that they are here to win and they're not an easy out.
Well, I think it's pretty clear what Utah's doing. They got Danny Ainge at the helm here. This is Danny Ainge. He's trading a guy who's younger than Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce were, but he's essentially doing the same thing that he did when he was running the Celtics, getting all these draft picks, punting it forward to the future. So it's clear that's what Utah's doing. And I like the pick here. Derek, your thoughts?
There's some stuff to say about Rudy Gobert's game. I like the pick because I like that the Timberwolves got a lot better. I don't like the things I don't like are the obvious things. The offensive numbers for Rudy are pretty awful. The PER number is a plus minus, whatever. Rudy Gobert is a great defensive player who can really anchor a team that I think, like I said, got a lot better, and that's the important part here. So again, it is the pick, probably number 1 pick.
He fits in perfect with Minnesota. You are able to take Cat out of the center at that 5 spot on defense and put Gobert there. That's going to save Cat to do his thing on offense. He's not going to be relied on as much to be a rim protector. You don't need him. It's just like the Twin Towers of the Spurs back in the day with the Admiral and Tim Duncan. That's what they have, essentially.
The Stifle Towers, right? Isn't that what Rudy's nickname is, the Stifle Tower?
Yep.
A little different. Rudy can obviously stretch the floor at the 3-point line. Or not Rudy, Cat. Cat's the player here. That's who really benefited from this trade. He gets to do more of his thing on offense, and I think that's kind of what they were.
You'd like to think that this, I'd like to think that this helps Cat in a lot of ways, right? It saves his body a little bit. It gives him a chance more on offense to score even a few more baskets because foul trouble is not going to get him into anything here. But here's something I think that's at play. That, Chris, I love that you picked Gobert here because the only criticism I think you're seeing of this deal is the exorbitant price that Minnesota had to pay for that. And, what are you going to do on that? If your owner wants the deal done, Minnesota's got new owners. They got new ownership syndrome completely up front here. So you paid a big price for it. The Minnesota Timberwolves are definitely going to finish better in the standings. What's it matter to you, the price that they paid, right? That's really the only criticism of this trade.
And I'm going to throw this to a fantasy analogy. If a person is willing to pay, then that's the price that the person is worth, right?
Yeah. I get that. And here's the other thing, right? What you're going to hear, I think, out of a lot of people is we're going to start playing all of these games with the thing we alluded to at the beginning that we don't want to talk about, right? Kevin Durant requesting a trade out of Brooklyn. People are going to say, oh, man, Minnesota, too bad that you didn't offer that up for Kevin Durant. Here's the problem with that. I don't think Kevin Durant's showing up and playing in Minnesota. But you know what Rudy Gobert's going to do? Probably play that contract out in Minnesota, be pretty happy about it, probably still be a good guy in the community because you hear nothing but good stuff out of him in Utah vis-a-vis that way. And that means a lot when you're Minnesota because you're not going to, frankly, get a whole lot of guys to stay there. So right now you have upped your profile, shown your youngster, Anthony Edwards, hey, we're a franchise that actually tries to make the playoffs every year, and we're not the also-ran terrible Minnesota Timberwolves we used to be. I think it's a huge move. Great draft pick out of you there, Chris.
Yeah, I thought that was a big splash, and everyone was surprised when it happened too. I didn't expect that to happen.
We'd heard rumblings of it on some of the NBA Literati podcasts. Load made mention of it, Simmons had made mention of it, but yeah, the price and when it went down was definitely surprising. But I suppose that means I get to make my first and second pick. I'm excited about this. I had DiVincenzo on my board. I probably wouldn't have picked him one like Derek did. And I had Gobert on my board as well, but that one to me was fairly obvious, so I didn't think I would get it being picked third. Here's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with 2 moves. That's right, 2 moves for the same exact team, but I'm going to pick them off at 1 and 2. All right, the Philadelphia 76ers on draft night traded to acquire DeAnthony Melton from the Memphis Grizzlies. Great trade for the 76ers. Melton is exactly more of what the 76ers need. He's a little bit of Harden insurance. And if Harden comes back in shape and can actually be the James Harden that we've seen before, Philadelphia makes themselves a lot better with that addition. And the other pick I am making is the free agent signing of PJ Tucker to the same Philadelphia 76ers. These are 2 solid NBA, well-coached, good in the head role players that can help the Philadelphia 76ers right now and play big minutes in the playoffs. That's what matters to me. Philadelphia is going to look much better in the playoffs, perhaps even all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, which will then point back very largely to these 2 moves right here. These are my picks. Derek, what do you think?
Love it. I love both those players. I think they're both winners. And that's what the 76ers need right now. PJ Tucker, defensive, rebounding. I love his game, honestly. I have for a while. And I think Melton's a great addition for them, too. The way he can shoot and also defend the wing. I like both these players.
Chris, are you gonna push back against that, or are you mad that I was able to snag one of these 2 that were on your board?
No, both these moves were on the board. And really what I did is I went through and what teams made the best moves to impact. And I think what Philadelphia did was some shrewd maneuvering and getting things done, getting Harden to take less money to make these types of...
He hasn't taken any money yet, but he agreed to opt out of his contract, which means right now Philadelphia had all that room to play for, and now they have to figure out what his number is.
Yeah, and so that shows me that Harden may be willing to put forth an effort this upcoming year to play with Embiid, and I
agree with you. We both know how dangerous that is for us, but I agree with you.
So they just need to stay healthy, which is also dangerous for Philadelphia, and they are, again, a contender in the East.
Derek, yeah, let's go right there. How big of a contender in the East do you think Philadelphia is as we sit here right now?
Top 3, and especially if this Harden thing, and I know we're doing this, Harden is a great player when he wants to play the game, and we've seen this before. He can be a double-double machine with the way he can pass the ball, shoot the ball. He just has to get his body right. I know that's a...
He's going to have a few more guys to dish to right now, that's for sure.
And that's the thing. And I think he wants to be the primary ball handler, the primary passer, and I think that's where they want to be, the 76ers. And I think that can work really well for them because his shooting hasn't been great. He hasn't looked completely as healthy as he has in the past years. But as long as he's dishing the rock the way he has, I think they can be they're a top 3 team in the East. And I don't think that's far to say. I think they could be 1 or 2, the 2 seed in the playoffs.
I think the East is definitely going to still go through maybe Milwaukee and Boston, but Philadelphia's going to be right there. Chris, you going to make your second pick, my friend?
All right, we're going to actually stay in the East, and this is a move a team made that definitely has them in the top tier. There's really 4 teams right now for me that are in the top tier. Philadelphia is like number 4. Then you got Milwaukee, Miami, Boston. I mean, those are the teams in the East. That's what you have to go through. This team was by far the best team in the second half of the NBA season last year and almost won a title. And I think the trade they made with the Pacers to get Brogdon
I knew you were going
makes them even better. They were essentially 2 games away from winning the chip this year. I think somebody like Brogdon makes that team better.
It's the classic kind of 4 quarters for $1 almost, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, like they gave up literally nothing except for maybe a late 20 round.
And if you think Neesmith still has any value, I guess, right? That's it.
But no, not on Boston or Indiana, really. So no,
that's true.
I mean, these guys were not getting any kind of minutes. They were just there to fill out payroll. None of them make anything. A couple of them will get cut by the Pacers because they don't want anything to do with them. But like they paid literally nothing, and they got a borderline all-star who does have an injury history, but get 55 games and have him healthy for the playoffs. He gets you that extra big-time backcourt defense to go along with Marcus Smart.
Chris, you said it, man. They were just 1 game, essentially, 2 games essentially short of the NBA championship, right? They were basically 1 guy short in their rotation, right? And Malcolm Brogdon is a great guy to add to that same rotation because you said it, Grant Williams didn't go in this deal. Derek White didn't go in this deal. Peyton Pritchard didn't even go in this deal. So the Celtics still have all the guys that played the minutes for him in the playoffs, plus they now add Malcolm Brogdon to him. Derek, you have good info for us here because you're a Bulls man. So you saw Brogdon play a bunch of years against your Bulls on the Bucks and then a bunch of years against your Bulls on the Pacers. What do you think of Malcolm Brogdon other than the injury part? Because clearly none of us have a crystal ball here, but other than the injury part, what about Malcolm's game?
I always say you can't trade and count injuries. You're trading for a player. And when Malcolm's at his best, he's an all defensive player with 16 points a game, 5 assists, per game, and that's what you're looking at. You're looking at a really great 6th, 7th man on the rotation, and I love that they didn't give up these players, the Grant Williams, the Derek White, Derek White. I think that's really important. They kept those key rotational players, and he can really run that second offense as good, as any player you're trading for.
Well, heck, some nights he can run the offense better than Marcus Smart,
agree.
Right? Like, I'm not trying to put Marcus down here, but some nights he's probably better for you.
I would agree.
On the offensive end especially.
And I would say this is a Brad Stevens player. And when I say that is he's going to play hard defense, and he's going to really open up the offense, too, with his passing, with his court vision, and he can shoot the 3 as well. And then these are the kind of moves that Brad Stevens is doing a masterclass. I'm building this roster out.
He really is.
It's pretty fun to see, really.
Yeah. He really is so far. I really like that move for them. Absolutely. Chris has 2 picks. I have 2 picks. Derek, you now get to have 2 picks. So your second piece of real estate, the island, you're staking your claim to is what after your safe pick of Dante DiVincenzo. Are you giving us? Are you getting a little riskier here for your second? No,
I'm going to go easy again, kind of safe. I think Lonnie Walker to the Lakers is a really interesting pick, interesting signing for them. And the reason I say that is because he's young. He's 23 years old, averaged 12 points a game last year. And I really think, I don't know if I can add, I know that this is one pick, but Troy Brown Jr. is also another person they picked, which it's kind of like
Listen, add them both up. It's fine with me.
I just think that those two.
This is an island that I'm going to be killing you on later when Lonnie Walker has played 0 minutes for the Lakers.
I don't know. I don't know about that. He's an athletic wing. He can shoot. He can guard. He can also, get you some rebounds. I just really like Lonnie Walker to the Lakers, and that's my safe pick.
I mean, did you understand what we were going to do here, Derek?
Well, considering the Lakers didn't make the playoffs last year, yeah, I did understand.
I don't think Lonnie Walker changes that.
I would assume that they make the playoffs pretty easily next year.
Listen, I'll agree with you on that, and on a technicality, we may give you some bonus points for that, but we'll have to correlate that between minutes Lonnie Walker plays and games played, and I'm not sure how much of a positive bump that will give you when that equation breaks out, Derek. Is that fair to say?
Hey,
all right, so you're saying you think this guy's going to play more minutes than Chris and I, really? So this is literally what this game is about. You are staking your claim, and you hope to be able to laugh at all of us when Lonnie Walker is a comeback player of the year.
I am staking my claim that I think Lonnie Walker averages 16 points a game next year and is a pretty key player to that team next year. Yes.
I think if he went someplace like New Orleans or someplace like that needed like another third, fourth option type guy, he'd be much better off than where he is at the Lakers. I like his game, but in LA, I think he's going to be sitting on that bench a lot.
I want to live in the world that you're in right now for a second, Derek, with this Lonnie Walker pick. In your world, this Lonnie Walker that gets 16 a game. And Derek, we're all going to have fun here. This is love. Don't get mad at me here. All right. But what is Russell Westbrook doing on this Laker team? Has he been traded for someone else? Is Russell Westbrook on this team? Like what Lakers team are you envisioning that Lonnie Walker gets 16
Honestly,
a game on?
In my head, Russell Westbrook isn't on this squad anymore. That's okay. So then there's points right there, and he kind of is similar, except for the fact they're not. There's no.
So you think it's a situation where kind of Westbrook is asked to go away, but the Lakers don't necessarily get anything for him, and that's the vacuum that Lonnie steps into. Is that
I'm
what
assuming there's
here?
going to be minutes available and points available for Lonnie Walker. That's.
Chris, he's almost talking me into it here because I kind of buy what he's saying here. Chris, do you believe there's anything of value the Lakers can get for Westbrook at this point? Because I think that's going to factor in big to Derek's claim here, is it not?
Well, I think there's value in Westbrook if he goes to the right team in the right situation. The dude has talent. No one is going to debate that.
But what does that bring back for the Lakers, though, I'm saying, right? I mean, is Derek did he sniff something out here? Am I wrong for pushing back against this? Did he sniff something out here that Lonnie Walker is going to get more minutes for the Lakers than I realize?
I still don't think so. I still think he's going to be the 9th or 10th guy off the bench.
I think the Lakers still have a move in them that we haven't seen because this is the Lakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm operating on here.
And they'll pick up some mid-level exemption or something after.
Yeah, there'll be some buyout guys right around camp. There always is.
Yeah, and they'll pick up a few extra veterans. Maybe who knows, maybe DeAndre Jordan gets cut and they pick him up or somebody of that nature, that's making like $3.5 million. So the Lakers always do something weird right before the season and then a couple months into the season with these veterans. I think that just pushes Walker down on the bench.
There we go. I love it, though, Derek. If this Lonnie Walker move pops, my friend, you're going to get to gloat all over the place, and that's a lot of what this was about. And I'm betting on
athleticism here. I mean, the guy's game, when he's in open space, he just really has that kind of athleticism. And it's like the 12 points last year on a Spurs team that was also kind of full of guys that scored. I don't know. If in November or December rolls around and the guy's averaging, 18 points,
Oh no, I got it. Listen, Derek, you get to make your third and final pick right here, my friend. You get to be the first person to close out your team. You got the reverse snake working for you here. So what do you got?
The Knicks signing Jalen Brunson. And the reason for it is that there's a lot of high upside, I guess, for the Jalen Brunson pick. I know the Knicks weren't great last year. The East is kind of weaker. Again, it feels kind of like an easier pick, but you guys did pick all my. I had that's the bottom of the list, really. I do love. I like Jalen Brunson as a player, and so that's the pick for me.
I think it's a good pick because I think you're right. I think there's a very good chance that the Knicks make the playoffs. Now, I don't think it's solid because a lot of what Chris was talking about earlier, there's so many good teams in the East, and the East is still basically going to run through those top 4 teams with the addition of maybe, Atlanta sneaking up there a little bit better with their move. I don't want to tip my hat on their move in case that's Chris's pick here, but I like that. I think Jalen Brunson is certainly going to be the guy scoring the most points for the Knicks, and if the Knicks improve, that's going to be some real estate that you're going to see some appreciation on. So I think that's a good pick there, Derek. You got Lonnie Walker to the Lakers, Brunson to the Knicks, and your first pick was Dante DiVincenzo to the Warrior. Those are the three pieces of real estate Derek has bought in our NBA offseason moves island draft. Chris, you going to finish your team before I do?
So, yeah, you tipped my hand. I'm going Atlanta. I think that DeJounte Murray trade is
You're
really
just a sucker for Spurs players. That's what this is.
He's got talent. I think he can take some pressure off in that backcourt in Atlanta. I think him and Trey will play well together. I think Atlanta has nowhere but to improve. They're only essentially a season removed from making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they have a lot of talent on that team still, and Murray is someone that just enhances that. So I think they can make a big jump.
Well, he's certainly going to help their defense, and we all know how much you love that.
Well, and Atlanta didn't have much last year, unfortunately. But I think this move helps Atlanta a lot. I thought Atlanta made quite a few good moves this offseason to improve, and it's going to be tough. I still don't think they cracked the top four.
When they gave Kevin Huerter away for nothing, did you love that one?
I have some
that didn't bother me.
Sorry, I have some big questions about the Hawks. I mean, how good is this team? What does this move really do for them? I mean, you have Trae Young, who's just going to chuck up threes wherever he's at, twos. There's just a lot.
That's it. That's definitely a question, Derek. How much is Trae Young willing to share the ball with DeJounte Murray here?
I think once he realizes that he's going to get a lot more open looks because of DeJounte Murray taking some of the ball handling duties away from him, and he'll be able to get off-screen ball side cuts, and he'll get those open looks that he wants, and he'll become a much more efficient shooter as well.
Here's another worry I have, Chris. Here's a possible thing that's going to play against your real estate purchase here, right? John Collins is still being shopped all over the league. So depending on what comes back in return for John Collins, that's going to then shake up this roster again. But I suppose with the price the Hawks paid for DeJounte Murray, they're certainly going to be looking to give him lots of opportunity. And that's the other question I have. Again, the thing that we're not going to talk about yet, the Kevin Durant trade. If Rudy Gobert just went for all of those draft picks, and DeJounte Murray went for 3 essentially unprotected draft picks, what in the world is the price for Kevin Durant going to be? I mean, my goodness. That's why I think we're going to have quite a while to wait to talk on that. But we're not going to have a while to wait for me to finish up our Moves Island draft. This is the final pick. This is the final move that will be chosen. Chris, I'm a little bit surprised that you didn't take a move the Dallas Mavericks made for your boy. I'm surprised you didn't take that.
I almost did, but I had to go with Atlanta.
I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to appoint to a guy that the Brooklyn Nets lost, right? Not a guy they haven't lost yet, but a guy that they actually already lost that's going to hurt their team. And he went to the perfect team, the team that needs him the most. That is Bruce Brown to the Nuggets. He is the perfect 6th, 7th, 8th type man off the bench for the Nuggets. Play some good D on the wing. Cut. Jokic can find him anywhere. And if Brown's improved shooting that he showed a little bit at the end for Brooklyn last year continues out in Denver, my goodness, people being high legally is not going to be the only things high out there. Spirits could be real high for Nuggets fans. I think they could be very good next year because let's not forget Michael Porter Jr., and I can't even think of the guy's name. Who's the
Jamal Murray?
Guard? Jamal Murray? No. Yeah, those two guys are coming back on top of Bruce Brown, the perfect rotation player, on top of the back-to-back MVP. So give me Bruce Brown as the final pick in our offseason moves draft.
That's good. I think Denver has made some smart moves. I really like the DeAndre Jordan move.
No, that's ridiculous. He's a carcass. What in the world do you need him for?
You pay him $2.5 million or $3 million, whatever he is. He comes in, plays 15 minutes a game, and gets you rebounds and protects the rim.
Give me one of the Plumlees who's going to be cheaper than that and a little bit more mobile.
No.
Unless one of the Plumlees has been out there before. He's probably might even still have the same house. Who knows?
I love the move, by the way, and I think the Nuggets have made great moves this whole offseason, which I know it's easy to say. They haven't played a game yet. I just like this team a lot. I like the way they maneuver and build this team around a really great player. Jamal Murray's going to come back, Michael Porter Jr., which they both have injury histories, but I like both players, especially the way they can really defend the wing and shoot the ball. And that's when you have that point center, which is a crazy thing to say, but they're going to get open buckets and I really like this team. And Bruce Brown is a great option here. So yeah.
It's so funny to me that like all of the guys that ended up making my squad are dudes that aren't making very much money, and then Chris goes and gets all the big money people, right? Chris, who's usually talking about team chemistry, scrappy defense, all the above, but at least he did pick defensive guys. He got Rudy Gobert at least for his first pick. Other than that, but Chris goes for all the big time guys: Brogdon, Rudy Gobert. Come on, Chris. DeJounte Murray. I mean, goodness.
Listen,
Mr. Obvious over here with your draft.
I only took best available option essentially for me.
Who did you want that got taken? Who was one? Who are you jealous of a pick?
I really I'm not jealous at all. I got 3 people that were in my top 4, so I'm fine.
I'm a little bit jealous of the Gobert to Minnesota because I think that one's just going to clearly be appreciation on your purchase price, right? I think Minnesota's definitely going to make it out of the first round of the playoffs this time, so I think that's going to be definitely great right there. But Derek, I got to be honest, man. I'm not so sure that I want in right now on the ground floor of any of your real estate ventures.
Hey, low floor, high ceiling, you know. Here in December when you guys are like, man, that was the best draft ever, you guys can thank me. Thank me for being on the pod later, you know. I mean, I got three guys that are athletic and can put the ball in the hole, so I'll take it.
I have a long-term portfolio, right? Like none of my picks are going to be able to be proven to be a big deal to my teams until the playoffs come around, right? Are the Nuggets going to get further in the playoffs this time? You know, are the 76ers going to get further in the playoffs this time? Are they going to have a bit of a higher seed when the playoffs come around? So it's going to take quite a while for my moves to pay off. Chris, anything that we did not touch upon that you think deserves a little spotlight here before we wrap up our NBA offseason moves draft?
I think Dallas made the first big splash of the year, of course, with getting Wood. I think that's a great addition. I think he'll fit in well there. Of course,
I like JaVale McGee as well. I think that's a nice little pickup.
I think that's smart. He's a winner
for a cheap price.
Yeah, he's a winner. He goes in, he knows his role, he does his role well. That's what you want in a solid veteran like him. But of course, it all comes down to Luka.
Here's something with Dallas. I heard floated today. None of these free agent deals are 100% official yet, so there's still a possibility of a sign and trade. Chris, let me tell you, let me float this to you. What if Dallas just got Evan Fournier in a sign and trade on this Jalen Brunson deal now? Would that do anything for you?
I don't think
that's
so.
Okay, though. I think if you're Dallas, you'd rather have that, right? Because you get the salary slot back, right? Like Fournier's making at least $20 million, so that is a $20 million salary you can play with. The guys, You're not going to be expecting as much out of him in Dallas as New York was. Right, so maybe you get the older Evan Fournier that, like, you know, as a fourth man every once in a while can get hot for you. If I was Dallas, I'd be pushing for that.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt.
I don't think the Knicks want him around anymore with Brunson there, Derek. Do you?
And that's what I was earlier in the week. I kind of thought that Evan Fournier could be a sign and trade candidate just because of the fact that's his role, and it's kind of gone now. And I think Jalen Brunson's a better player. I don't think that's even a question. I thought he could have been a good candidate to sign a trade here soon. And I think that could still happen. So we'll see.
Derek, anything else that we should talk about here before we go that we didn't bring up?
Something really disappointed to me over this offseason. I know it's still early, I guess, but the way the Grizzlies have basically not been existent in this offseason has been just kind of really disappointing. The team's young, I get it, but they need another player that can really play defense on the wing, and it just hasn't happened yet. And I'm not sure. I know there's a couple fits that they could have really signed, and they didn't. I'm not sure what the salary cap is really looking like at in Memphis right now, but I really like the team. I like the young nucleus, but they have an opportunity here, I think, and they didn't, in my opinion, capitalize on it. So it's interesting to see what they're going to look like going forward.
The last thing I want to mention here is Daryl Morey, who I brought up for 2 of my picks. He went and got some of the band back together. D'Anthony Melton was a former guy he had in Houston. PJ Tucker was a former guy he had in Houston. And I hear that there's a good chance, Chris, that he's also looking to bring another one of your guys, Eric Gordon, via trade to Philadelphia. So be on the lookout for that, Chris. Maybe your guy Eric Gordon is going to end up on the 76ers. Back in red.
Well, he can shoot threes. No one's going to argue about that. And that's what you need in today's NBA. If you can hit a three at a 40% clip, you're going to have a job.
And here's the last thing that I want to say. We are going to come back in the future, we might touch on golf here. I know that the British Open is just around the corner. The Live Tour is still something that I'd like to touch on, but we may be a little more sporadic moving forward here, Mr. King, until we finally decide to start dipping our toes into getting Mr. Josh Williams back on this program, right? That's kind of what I'm saying here. And certainly we'll come back when we hear something definitive on Kevin Durant, but I have a feeling that this is going to last for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we all know that there's a sport we're not allowed to talk on anymore, except for very, very rare when you're in a good mood. So that slows down. This is our off season.
Here's an offer I will make to you. Do you want to make an offer to the people, Chris? I will allow you and Evan Altman to come on and do an episode if I don't have to be involved.
Ooh, I will gladly do an episode with Evan Altman. That man is a genius.
Wait, I love baseball too. Get me in there. That's what we're talking about.
Well, listen, that's up to Chris. Chris will be driving, right? Chris, he's sitting here all confident right now, but it's been a while since Chris had to drive a podcast, so he might end up. Well, that's going to be up to him. He'll be driving that night.
Yeah, baseball's hurting, and we all know why some of those reasons are. But there's been some interesting things happening this season as well. So,
well, then perhaps we'll do that. Then the next episode, maybe we'll get Mr. Roberts on with me, and we'll do some golf, and then maybe we'll have just you and Evan Altman, and maybe perhaps Derek back to talk baseball. Maybe that's what the next Balls and Brew episode will be.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Derek, for joining us again, my friend. Did you have fun coming back to the podcast?
It's great to be back. Yes, sir.
All right. We'll have you back on here in the future. I appreciate it. Thank you, as always, to our executive producer, Jimmy Jamriska. We appreciate him pressing all the dials. Make sure you look out for Jimmy and I dropping our wrestling thoughts. The previous podcast to this one was Jimmy and I wrapping up Money in the Bank. So make sure you check that out. And then coming up also in this feed will be an exclusive interview I have with Brett Westcons on the day his new album releases, July 13th. So look forward to that one as well. So I'm saying bye for now, but the last word goes to Mr. King.
Goodbye, Internet.